Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for the IAS mains exam. I am working on the general studies question paper 1 and this is my effort to explain the entire syllabus through the 20 videos, and such efforts I have made on the GS paper 2. So I have completely discussed the GS paper 2 through the 20 videos on YouTube channel. So you may take help from there, and this is the my second effort or the second series on general studies question paper 1. Today I will discuss a next topic from the social sector as UPSC have mentioned in the syllabus, and I will explain a comparative study about the two topics. Here, this is the topic 1, regionalism. Regionalism, and second is the communalism. And through the map, we will make our illustration more scientific. Regionalism and communalism are the two important social aspects and also the political aspect in the Indian life. What do you mean by the regionalism and how the concept of regionalism evolved? In what circumstances the regionalism have become a strong tendency, and now it is presenting a challenges or threat toward the Indian nation, constitution and entire the social and the regional integrity. Regionalism means a ideology or concept to adhere towards their regional language, religion and specific geographical territory. So simply it is defined in the form of your faith and belief and intention towards your religion, language and the other factors. So regionalism may be defined on the grounds of language, on the grounds of religion or cult, and on the grounds of the culture, a specific culture which includes the folklores, music and the dance, paintings, sculptures, architectures and specific behaviors and the tradition. So then regionalism when grow on the grounds of language or religion, definitely it have both positive and the negative connotation. Positively we can say, if the concept or tendency of regionalism is increasing to promote, to protect their language and religion in a specific part of country, definitely we must support them. But when this tendency sometimes stood before the nation's integrity and compel the nation for their separation or to demand for the separate identity within the country. So then through the Indian map, when the Naga movement or Bodo movement, Naga movement in the Nagaland and Bodo movement in Assam, and this is the Marathi movement in Maharashtra and the Tamil movement, and there are so many movements within the country. They grown on the basis of languages. Sometimes they realize our regional languages or cultures are under the threat within the internal or the external factors. When the Indian Constitution promotes Hindi as a official language, and Indian Constitution again provide environment for the development of Hindi along with the other language specifically, and Hindi is trying to be a national language of the country. So definitely the regional language like Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Naga, Bengali directly oppose the Hindi to be a national language, and sometimes becomes a violent movement and drag India under a umbrella of separation, and this may be a great challenge to the regional integrity and the solidarity. Religion is the another aspect of the regionalism. Definitely we can say India is the multicultural and the multi-religious country. Here the Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Islam, Christianity, so many religions prevails at a time, and Indian Constitution provides a sufficient grounds and rights and rule of law for the flourishment to the all religions and cultures. And since the execution of Indian Constitution, these religions are growing and they are surviving along with each other, and they are interacting to each other. Generally there is no problem, there is no matter of clash and disputes, but sometimes it has seen the concept of regionalism have become a matter of separation and matter of disintegration. And when we find out the multiple causes, one of the most important is the political factor, and this is the relative deprivation. If any religion and language and culture realize we are relatively backward and we have the least resource for their development and for their conservation, so when this community is led by the politics and the political leaders raise these issues, and through these they demand the separate states, the separate geographical territory. So in India we can trace the history of regionalism since the ancient time, then it was also prevailed in the medieval history, then the modern phase, and after the independence too. So definitely two important factors led by the politics. The one is relative deprivation or the backwardness. For example, the Naga language and the Naga culture and the Bodo culture and the other cultures, they are relatively weak or underdeveloped than the other cultural language of the country, and when this concept is protected or raised by the regional political leaders, then it becomes the regionalism, and sometimes it becomes against the national interest. Or the second is the cultural assertiveness. For example, if the government of India tries to spread the Hindi as an official language, or sometimes makes provisions for declaring Hindi as a national language, so definitely it has opposed and it shall be opposed by the Naga, Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi and the other language. So then cultural assertiveness is also the second factor, and which is also led by the political leaders. So definitely in India the regionalism is going through under the two categories the relative backwardness and the cultural assertive. But these two factors are led by the political leaders. So we can say the political scenario in India, it may be a positive or negative. If the politics of these regions trying to fulfill their vested interest, so definitely the regionalism may harmful to the national integrity and solidarity. If the politics of these regions trying to coexistence or having the cooperative behavior toward the national values, definitely it will flourish unity within the diversity. So definitely, finally we can conclude the regionalism does not mean it is always a negative connotation. Regionalism sometimes requires necessary for promoting, for raising the regional issues on the grounds of backwardness, the language, cultural practices, religion and the other factors. But when we gives priority to these regional elements over the national feelings, then it becomes a separatist movement. And in India, we have made so many small states in the past on the grounds of regionalism. But in India, we have generally used the factor language for the formation of new state, but never the religion. It is a good for India. Before the 1947, when India was partitioned on the grounds of religion, it was a bitter experience for the India. So the religious factor was completely became the negligible in India. And now there are the two kinds of threats have been presented by the regionalism. One is regionalism increasing the separatism or the separatist movement and is increasing demand for the formation of the new states or the more than states, or second is creating a threat before the national integrity and solidarity. So definitely sometimes it have seems or realize, but generally it is not a natural or general phenomena. So whenever the vested interest groups or anti-nation association and peoples trying to raise the regionalism against the nationalism, definitely government of India or state government absolutely suppressed or tranquils these tendencies in the interest of nation or the common people. And now the second aspect is the communalism. So then what do you mean by the communalism? In India there are the so many religions and the sect. You know, Hindu is a sect, Islam is a sect, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Christianity are the so many sects. And sects are formed in India on the grounds of the religions. The sects are the associations of peoples having the common ideology or belief and faith toward a specific religion, like the Islam, like the Hindus. Then peoples have the common ideology, they have the common faith toward their god, deities, have the common practices of the worships. The communalism generally is promoted by the cultures too. Communalism also have the positive and the negative aspect. Positively we can say India is a multi-culture country, and here at a time about 7 religion or culture exist, and they not only survive according to their specific areas and but also they interact to each other. So generally there is no matter of disputes or conflicts among these sects. But the negative aspect of communalism is the communalism when exists within the boundary of religiousness and the religiosity. So definitely there is no problem of the communalism. So religiousness and religiosity is a strong tendency showing interest towards the specific religion and the sect. Definitely it must be, our constitution provides the religious liberty to all the religion or sect under the article 25 to 28, and in India except the Hindus, all the religion are also the minority sections, and these minorities also are protected under the Indian constitution under article 29 and 30. So the concept of religiousness or religiosity is maintained by the Indian constitution. But when this tendency of religiousness promotes by the peoples of vested interest, or sometimes the pseudo political leaders, and they makes provisions or steps to impose the language, cultural practices or the ideology of one sect over the other sect, and when they forcefully try to preach or spread their ideologies and try to violate or intrude in the internal matters of the other religion and the sect, like when the Hindus try to intervene in the internal matter of Islam, sometimes Islams also try to the same against the Hindus. So then this religiosity convert into the communalism. So communalism is a negative connotation of the religiousness or the religiosity, and we can trace the history of communalism in India from the modern time. You know, during the British rule, when Britishers ruled over India, at that time there was a Muslim League political party and Hindu Mahasabha and the other regional parties, and they developed the concept of communalism. They tried to prioritize one religion over the another, and sometimes they dragged the peoples and stood the peoples to fight against the each other, and it was resulted into the partition of India in 1947. And after the independence, or since after the 1947, there are some other political leaders are trying to protecting their individual interest or maintaining their political career. So the concept of religiosity is pure, it is a constitutional value, and it must be, and it is necessary for the flourishment to their spiritual or the material life. But when we drag this religiosity under the political agenda, definitely it converts into the communalism. So this is the concept of the communalism. And the second aspect is, how can we relate the regionalism through the communalism? Can we say the regionalism grows through the communalism? So how much extent communalism can promote the regionalism? Definitely, as we have discussed earlier, religion is the one aspect of growing the regionalism. If we emphasize over the religion or the sect, if we are giving priority to specific religion or sect to promote, to preaching, to spreading their ideology, or trying to intervene the rights of the other sect or religions, definitely it may be a concept of regionalism, and sometimes it is also called the communalism. So when the regionalism is given priority, so definitely it creates the concept of the regionalism too. So sometimes we can say there are some geographical territory in India where the Islam have their dominance, Islamic dominant regions found in India in the some districts of the states where the it is too difficult to adjust for the other community, religion and the sect. So communalism may be a part of regionalism, but there is a thin line between them. So this is the aspect, and you must try to understand the concept in this way. Okay, thank you.